Hey, greetings from Washington. I hope everybody is having just a fantastic start to your week. I'm going to be talking about something on the show today. I just want to get out here because it's very important. Washington State has some new laws finally on the books about this scourge to the suburbs, which you guys might know as e-bikes. I don't know if you guys have seen this in your neighborhoods, but my wife and I see this all the time. These e-bikes will fly by in the opposite direction in traffic. And oftentimes, actually always, it's preteens, like 12-year-old, 13-year-old kids who are just zooming around. And I got to think there's just no way that their parents are aware of what they're doing. I mean, it's the kind of thing where you just assume that the parents probably bought these bikes with the best of intentions because they love their kids and they want to make sure that they have fun things. And the kid said, "Oh, so and so has them, and it's everybody's got one." The problem is that like these are literally now like roving gangs of e-bikers riding around. I sound so old talking about this, but it's like a legit awful thing. And the problem is they're ruining traffic for people. They're like, not obeying the rules of the road. The worst part is they're going to end up dead. I mean, we've seen many, many news stories already of kids who are end up in hospital and bad situations. I pulled up. I have a couple of e-bike stories that scares the heck out of me. My kids have already asked for them. My oldest is 11 years old, and he's like, "When can I get an e-bike?" Because he has friends who have e-bikes, and I'm like, "Hell no." Same thing with smartphones. You can have a dumb phone when you're 16. The doodle bugs or the things that for like old people and simpletons. Uh, Big buttons. You can call home and you can call other places, but I'm not giving you a screen because I think it's dangerous. Um, Same thing with e-bikes. He has friends who have e-bikes and he's like, "I want to ride e-bikes." These things go like, these are not bikes. These are essentially motorcycles and they drive around not observing the rules of the road. They're not protected in any way. Like when you drive a motorcycle and you're an adult and you've gone through and you've gotten your motorcycle license and you've done all the things you need to do to get your tags and whatever. At some point during that whole process, you've probably had to come to terms with the idea that you are not protected on the road. They teach this if you ride motorcycles all the time. Like you need to be in defensive driving mode 100% of the time because it's dangerous. When you're on these roads against these other cars who weigh 3 tons, uh, you're going to be the collateral damage for sure. On a motorcycle, on an e-bike, you got no choice. I mean, you got no chance. Absolutely no chance. And these kids ride around and they become emboldened because, especially in some of these like maybe a little quieter communities, they become emboldened because parents are kind of nice and there's not a lot of craziness there. Some of the roads are kind of wide open. And so they get comfortable driving around until they end up just blowing through stop signs and red lights and not observing the rules of the road. And then somebody's going to get flattened, which is awful to say, but it will happen. And it has happened. I rolled up the other day on a lady who was parked on the side of the road. On the other side of the road, there's a bike, an e-bike that's thrown 20, 30 feet from where her car is. And there's a kid there who is also being picked up off the ground. Now she's over there trying to help him up. Thank God he got his feet under him. It looked like he was okay, but he very easily could have gotten flattened by that car. Now I arrived after the scene, so I don't know exactly what happened, but I imagine she came around the corner. He was on an e-bike doing something he shouldn't have done on a road that's not meant for bikes. He was doing it as a car, and this like 12 or 13-year-old almost got flattened by a car. And that lady would have not only would he have lost his life, that lady would have carried that guilt for the rest of her life, which is awful. 2 o'clock, like 2 a.m., 2 o'clock a.m. The other night, I was sleeping soundly in bed, just sleeping like a baby. Great night of sleep until we start hearing noises. I don't know what that noise is. My wife doesn't know what it is, but she wakes me up. She goes, "Jake, get up. There's somebody outside." So I, real brave. I crawl over to the window and I peek outside and I look, and all the trash cans are knocked down. I can see the street from my bedroom window. I can see down to the street, down our driveway to the street where all the trash cans are. And it's not only my trash cans, it's also my neighbor's trash cans. And all of those are knocked down. I'm like, geez Louise. I'm worried because if I leave them, I'm doing this like mental math in my head. Like, if I go back to bed right now, could I just go straight to sleep and I can still get a good night's sleep? Yes. But if I'm like half asleep and I hear screeching of tires and somebody getting a horrible accident because I didn't go pick up these trash cans that I've now seen in the road, I'm going to feel like a jerk for the rest of my life. So I get up, whatever, neighbor of the year, other people's words, not mine. I grab, to be safe, I grab a Little League baseball bat, one of my kids' baseball bats in the garage as I'm putting on my sneakers. I run down there and it's dead silent. There's not a soul out. And I'm looking around like, what the heck? What did this? Like, where, down the street that way, up the street that way, nobody. Can't see a thing. And then I hear the chuckling and the laughter. Teenagers, e-bike teenagers start coming at me. Now, they were not expecting at 2 a.m. to see, and they're giggling and laughing and ha. They're not expecting to see a crazed middle-aged man ripped from peaceful slumber holding a Little League baseball bat in the middle of the pathway, but that's what they found. And so they stopped. And I'm sitting there. I'm not trying to be aggressive. That's my natural state at 2 a.m. in the confusion of what's happening. And I'm like, guys, did you knock over my trash cans? Of course, they all denied it. I knew they did it though, because I'm not an idiot. And I end up giving them a speech. I wasn't trying to be aggressive with the bat, just like it looks that way because I'm holding a bat. But end up giving them a speech that I would give to my own sons because these are someone's kids. Somebody loves these kids. And that's what I told them. I said, guys, number one, it's 2 a.m. How old are you guys? They told me they were like 12 or 13 years old. There's 3 of them. I said, guys, your parents love you, despite what I'm seeing now, the fact that they don't know where you're at 2 a.m. Or they do, and then they don't actually love them. But I didn't tell them that. But I assume that these parents of these kids love these kids. And I said, hey, you guys cannot be out and about doing this crazy stuff. Number one, it's not nice to the neighbors. And 2, you're going to end up running into some crazed individual in the middle of the night with a baseball bat. You don't want to be on the other end of that situation. Or a car comes and hits you because they're not expecting kids cruising around the road at 2 a.m. on these e-bikes. Anyway, the kids went on their way. I sent them away, hoping they learned their lesson. I hope so. We haven't had any trouble since, so we'll see if that holds. But be careful with these e-bikes. They're very, very dangerous. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Greetings from Washington.